Welcome to the first service at Morgan Mill Baptist Church. We're covering today in our series of Where in the Bible, and we're looking today at the island of Crete. In Titus chapter 1, there in verse 5, we see, "For this reason I left you in Crete, that you would set in order what remains and appoint elders in every city as I directed you." The island of Crete was in the central section of the Mediterranean Sea. Roughly, it was south of Athens, Greece, and roughly it was halfway between the island of Malta and the island of Patmos. In dealing with the churches there of Crete, one would, of course, be witnessing, and then as they were saved, deal with them in the churches as they grew in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. The inhabitants of Crete were known to be good sailors. The island of Crete being in practically the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, they would have to sail anywhere else to get off that island for trade, for any other activities at all. So they were well known as good sailors. They were also known as good archers. But also, from the quote from Epimenides, a poet from Crete, there in Titus chapter 1, verse 12, they were listed as being known to always lie, being evil beasts and lazy gluttons. It's a pretty rough audience for the church. Epimenides and others believed this was the lowest of the low in Greek society. And the key aspect is there that they would always lie. Verse 5, "For this reason I left you in Crete, that you would set in order what remains and appoint elders in every city as I direct you." This is not an easy mission assignment for Titus. Was Titus supposed to do all this? No. He was to appoint elders in the churches. Notice verse 6. "Namely, if any man is above reproach, the husband of one wife, having children who believe, not accused of dissipation or rebellion. For the overseer must be above reproach as God's steward, not self-willed, not quick-tempered, not addicted to wine, not pugnacious, not fond of sordid gain, but hospitable, loving what is good, sensible, just, devout, self-controlled." These are very specific instructions for leadership in the church. In fact, the book of Titus and preceding it, the books of 1st and 2nd Timothy, are referred to as the pastoral epistles. Instructions for the early church, and in that transition period where they were going from apostles and prophets no longer being listed in the church, but now it's evangelists and pastor teachers. Titus chapter 1, now verse 9. "Holding fast the faithful word which is in accordance with the teaching, so that he will be able to both exhort in sound doctrine and to refute those who contradict." Also in the pastoral epistles, look in 2 Timothy chapter 4. "I solemnly charge you in the presence of God in Christ Jesus, who is to judge the living and the dead, and by his appearing in his kingdom, preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with great patience and instruction. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but wanting to have their ears tickled, they will accumulate for themselves teachers in accordance with their own desires." Instead of them being under the authority of God and his word, they choose people and to be not under the authority of God and his word, but a false image, false presentation of God and his word. Thus, it will be humans that are in charge and human doctrines, not the word, will, grace, and love of God, and will turn away their ears from the truth and will turn aside to myths. Such a challenging mission for Titus there on the island of Crete. to set up elders in all of the churches on that island. And it was not a small island. We'll see more about those challenges for Titus and for Christians today in part 2 of today's Bible study, and that will be next.